Hi guys, okay, just check you've got the right paper. This is May 2021, paper 1H. So a plane flew from Madrid to Dubai. The distance was this, the time was this, work out the speed. So speed is distance over time. We need to know that. The distance is 5, 6, 5, 8. And the time, don't make the mistake, guys, because we're doing kilometers per hour, so we need this in hours. 12 minutes, don't write, if you write 8.12, you're very wrong, right? It's 12 minutes is 12 out of 60, because there's 60 minutes in an hour. 12 out of 60, 12 divided by 60 is a fifth, which is 0.2, which tells me 8 hours and 12 minutes is 8.2. So it's 5658 divided by 8.2. 690. That's the answer. 690. Put it here. Okay, that's question 1. Question 2. Here are the first four terms of an arithmetic sequence. Find an expression in terms of n for the nth term of the sequence. Okay, the nth term of the sequence, u of n, is equal to, this actually isn't in the formula booklet, guys, but it's a plus n minus 1d. This is the formula in the formula booklet. This is the formula that's not in the formula booklet, but it's the formula for the nth term. Let's get u of n. So a is the first term, which is 85, plus n minus 1. We don't know n, but we're finding the nth term, so that's fine. And d, so it's times d, which is the common difference. The common difference is -6, because we take away we take away 6 to get to each term. So this is -6. So it's 85. Then I do -6 times n is -6n. -6 times -1 is +6. So we're left with 85 plus 6 is 91 minus 6n. And that's it. 91 minus 6n. Okay, question 3. We have this shape. The area of the shape is this. Work out the value of x. Okay, so we could split it up, guys, into... There's a few different ways we could split it up. We could split it up into this rectangle and this triangle. I think that's probably the best thing to do. This height must be 6, because this is 14, this is 8, 8 plus 6 gives me the 14, so that's 6. If this full thing is 13, then this length, let's draw it in pink, this length here has to be 13 minus x, because this is x, so this would be x, this whole thing's 13, so this has to be 13 minus x. Okay, so the area of the rectangle, area of rect, is 14 times x, which is 14x. The area of the triangle is base times height divided by 2. So it's 13 minus x times 6 divided by 2. So I can just divide the whole thing by 2 like this. And I can simplify this. I can just do the 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's probably the easiest thing to do. Like so. And then I have 3 times 13 is 39. 3 times minus x is minus 3x. Okay, so that's the area of the rectangle and the area of the triangle. The total area is 91.8, so I just add them. So it's pretty straightforward. 14x plus 39 minus 3x has to equal 91.8. 14x minus 3x is 11x, and then I'm going to subtract the 39 from this, so 91.8 minus 39. That is, use your calculator, guys. I'm going to use my do it in my head if I can. That would be 52.8, I think. That would be 52.8. And then to get x, we divide by 11. It would be 52.8 divided by 11. Let's see what that is. 52.8 divided by 11 is 4.8, which is correct. So x equals 4.8. Okay, question 4. On a farm there are chickens, ducks and pigs. The ratio of the number of chickens to the number of ducks is 7 to 2. Ducks to pigs is 5 to 9. There are 36 pigs on the farm. Work out the number of chickens on the farm, right? Because I always find these questions confusing. So let's kind of go backwards. It gives us 36 pigs on the farm. So ducks to pigs is 5 to 9. So ducks to pigs is 5 to 9. Now he says there's 36 pigs on there's 36 pigs. So I can find out how many ducks because the ratio stays the same. 5 to 9 is the same as what to 36? Well, I do 9 times 4 gives me 36. 5 times 4 gives me 20. So there's 20 ducks on the farm. And he says the chickens to ducks is 7 to 2. So chickens to ducks is 7 to 2. But now I know there are 20 ducks from this. So this has to be 20, and then same thing. 2 times 10 is 20. 7 times 10, have to multiply by the same thing, is 70. Therefore, there are 70 chickens on the farm. 70. Okay, question 5. Expand and simplify. Okay. 3x times 2x is 6x squared. 3x times 3 is 9x. Minus x times 3x is minus 3x squared. Minus x times 5 is minus 5x. This then equals 6x squared minus 3x squared is 3x squared. And 9x minus 5x is 4x. Okay, and yes, that is correct. Make t the subject of the formula. Okay, first I'm just going to swap these guys. I'm going to say at minus d equals p. I can definitely do that because if this equals this, then this equals this. And then I'm going to find t. So I'm going to add d to both sides. At equals p plus d. That gets rid of that d. And then I'm going to divide by t. So t is equal to p plus d over a. And that's it. Part C. Given that w, okay, equals this, work out the value of n. Okay, so this is rules of indices. This, when we multiply two numbers together with the same base, we can add the powers. So this would be w to the power of 5 plus n over w to the power of 3 equals, sorry, w to the power of 10. Then there's two ways to do it. You could multiply across by this, or you could just subtract the powers. I'm just going to subtract them. I think it's easier. I can then say w to the power of, I'm going to do, because when we divide numbers, we subtract the powers. So 5 plus n minus n, let's do it here. Minus 3. 5 plus n minus 3 is equal to 2 plus n. So this here is equal to 2 plus n equals w to the 10. Now if w to the power of this thing equals w to the power of that thing, then this thing has to equal that thing basically, which means n has to be 10 minus 2, which is 8. So n is 8. Okay, question 6. Grace has a spinner. She's going to spin it once. The table shows the probabilities, fine. The probability that it will land on orange is 3 times the probability that it will land on pink. Okay, when I see that, guys, the best thing to do is write in here, orange is 3x and pink is x. So we don't know what it is, but at least we know this is 3 times this. And then work out the probability that it lands on orange. So basically it has to land on one of them. So these 5 added together has to equal 1. So 0.2 plus 0.12 plus 0.08 plus 3x plus x equals 1. And now it's just an equation that I need to solve. So this is, you can use your calculator, guys, 0.4 plus 3x plus x is 4x equals 1. 4x then equals 1 minus 0.4, which is 0.6, which means x is equal to 0.6 divided by 4, use your calculator, 0.15. However, careful, pink is 0.15, but he said find the probability it would land on orange, so I need to do 3x, which is 0.45, multiply this by 3, and my final answer is then here 0.45. Okay, then it says Grace spins the arrow on the spinner 150 times. Work out an estimate for the number of times it will land on blue. So the probability it lands on blue is 0.12. So it's like 12% of the time it's going to land on blue. So how do I get 12% of this? Well, I just multiply it. So it's 150 times 0.12, and that equals 150 times 0.12, 18. So that is 18 here. Okay. Question 7. Y is an integer. Write down the possible values of y, right? So firstly, let's just divide by 2. So if 2y is greater than minus 4, then y are equal to, is greater or equal to minus 2. Because I divide this by 2, I divide this by 2. And similarly, I divide this by 2, which is 3. Okay. So it then says write down the possible values of y. So y has to be bigger or equal to negative 2. So it can be negative 2. Also, it's an integer, so it has to be a whole number. So I'm going to do bigger than negative 2. Integers that are bigger than negative 2, like negative 1, 0, 1. But I'm going to stop at 3. And I'm not going to include 3 because it doesn't include 3. It doesn't have the equals 3 here like it does here, equals negative 2. So it's just as far as 2. And that's it. Then it says solve this. Okay, so well, 7t minus 3 is less than or equal to 2t plus 31. So you can pretty much solve inequalities like equations, so long as you don't multiply or divide by a negative number, in which case you have to change the sign of this. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to subtract 2t. That's fine. And I'm going to add 3. Okay, so I subtract 2t to this side, add 3 to this side. 7t minus 2t is 5t, is less than 34, and then t is less than 34 over 5 is 6 4/5 or 6.8. So make sure you write down the full thing. T is less than or equal to 6.8. Okay, question 8. Populations. Work out the difference between the population of China and the population of Germany. Give your answer in standard form. Okay, so I can just do, guys, the difference is 1.4 times 10 to the 9 minus Germany 8.2 times 10 to the 7. Now I can use my calculator here. Easy. It's just 1.4 times 10 to the 9 minus 8.2 times 10 to the 7. And it's this. That's actually a big number, guys. 1318 with 6 zeros. 1318 with 6 zeros. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Now you'd expect it to be a big number, guys, because there's way more people in China than there is in Germany. but he wants it in standard form. So I have to do 1.318 times 10 to the power of, I go to here and I go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 places, so I have to do to the power of 9. Okay, it then says, given that, okay, I'll just go to here, given that Fiji, the population of Fiji is 1/8 the population of Sweden, work out the value of k. Give your answer correct to the nearest whole number. Okay, so Sweden is 9.9 times 10 to the power of 6. So it's like, how many Swedens fit into, how many Fijis fit into Sweden in terms of population? So I'll just divide it. I have this many people in Sweden and I have this many people in Fiji. So I'm just going to divide the two. That's easy to do with my calculator. 9.9 times 10 to the power of 6 over 9.1 times 10 to the power of 5. I get this, which is 10.879. To the nearest whole number, I have to round it up to 11. So k has to be 11. So the population of Sweden is about 11 times the population of Fiji. Okay, question 9. Okay, factorize this. So I need to take out the common number. So the common number is 5 because it goes into 25 and 45. The common a is a to the 4 because I have an a to the 4 here and more here. So maximum is a to the 4. I'll take out c to the 3 because I have c to the 3 here and more here. So that's the max I can take out. And then that's it because there's no d in this term, there's no h in this term. Open brackets, 5 times 5 will give me the 25. No, I don't need to put any more a's because I have a to the 4 here. I need to put a c to the 3 because that will give me, sorry, c to the 4. That will give me the 7. 3 plus 4 is 7. And I have to put in the d. Okay, then also 5 times 9 will give me the 45. I need a to the power of 5 because 5 plus 4 will give me the a to the 9. No more c's because I have c to the 3 there, and I need the h. Okay, that's part A. Part B, I'll solve this. So, okay, let me just do these separately, guys. 2x plus 5 squared is the same as 2x plus 5 plus 2x plus 5. Now you have to do this this method, first times first, first times second, second times first, second times second, giving me 4x squared plus 10x plus 10x plus 25, or simplified to 4x squared plus 20x plus 25. And then this one, this 2x plus 3 times 2x minus 1, similar, gives me 4x squared minus 2x plus 6x minus 3, which is 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. Okay, that's this times this, this times this, this times this, and this times this. Okay, now they're equal. It says this, the purple equals the green. So the purple, 4x squared plus 20x plus 25 has to equal 4x squared plus 4x minus 3. Now normally I'd say, guys, this is a tricky, well, it is a tricky problem, but normally I'd say it's very difficult because it's a quadratic, but this is actually a nice question because the 4x squared, the x squared part cancels. I can subtract 4x squared from both sides and now it's gone. And then I can just get the x's together, 20x minus the 4x, and I can do the minus 3 minus the 25, giving me 16x equals minus 28, and then x is minus 28 over 16 minus 28 over 16 is minus 7 over 4, or minus 1.75, or negative 1.75. Negative 1.75. Okay, that is question 9. Question 10. Jethro has 5 tests. Each was marked out of 100, and Jethro's mean mark is 74. He then has to sit one more test that's also marked out of 100. He wants his mean to be at least 77. Work out the least mark that Jethro needs to get for the last test. Okay, this is a combined mean question, guys. He got a mean of 74 in his first 5 tests. So imagine, so the mean, he now has 6 tests, okay? So we're going to divide by 6. He wants his mean to be at least 77. So let's just make it equal to 77. So his total divided by 6, because there's now 6 tests, has to equal 77. Okay, in his first 5 tests, his mean was 74. So his total score in all those tests, you can just do 5 times 74. This is the key to these types of questions, guys. 5 times 74 gives me the total that he got in the first 5 tests, because it's just the mean times 5. And then whatever he gets in his next test, I don't know what it is, so I'll call it x. And now I just need to solve this equation. So 5 times 74, I think I'll need the calculator for that. 5 times 74 is 370. 370 plus x, and then in one go I'm going to do 77 times 6. 77 times 6 is 462. 462. And then all I need to do is do 462 minus 370. 462 minus 370, which is equal to, let's just be sure, 462 minus 370 is 92. So he needs to get 92. Okay, question 11. Find the value of x. Okay, and it says show you're working clearly. Okay, because you could kind of just do that on the calculator, or figure it out on the calculator. So he wants you to see that we can write root 2 as 2 to the power of a half. Yes, we should know that. Root 2 is 2 to the power of a half. And 16 is 2 to the power of 4, because 2 times 2 times 2 times 2 is 16. And then I can say, because the base is the same, I can just add them. So 2 to the power of a half times 2 to the power of 4 is 2 to the power of 4.5. I can just add 4.5, 4.5, and that's it. That's the answer, 4.5, or 9 over 2. This question, find the value of n. So kind of similar, but it's a little bit harder, and it's 11. So the top here, this is like our third rule of indices, I can multiply the powers. Minus 6 times 5 is minus 30 over 11 times 4. And then I subtract these powers because the base is the same and I'm dividing. Minus 30 minus 4 is minus 34. And there we have it. N is equal to negative 34. N equals negative 34. Just be careful, guys. It's not 11 to the power of negative 34. It's n. So n is just whatever's there. Okay, question 12. Sector of a circle, work out the length of the arc of the sector. So that's this thing. No, that is this length here. The length of that arc. Okay, now we have a formula, guys, for the length of the arc. The length of the arc, let's call it L, is equal to angle over 360, it's that fraction of the angle, times 2 pi r, because it's the circumference of a circle. So that's the circumference of a circle times this, and that'll give me the answer. Okay, we'll do 50 over 360 times 2 times pi times 7. And we get this, but he wants one decimal place, so it's 6.1. So I'll do 6.109, 6.109, and then 6.1 to one decimal place, and I'll put that here, 6.1. Okay, expand this, show you're working clearly. Okay, so you can do these two first, or these two first. I think the best thing to do is the first two first. So I'll do 4x times 3x plus 1. That gives me 4x times 3x is 12x squared, and 4x times 1 is plus 4x. Okay, so now I have a new problem, 12x squared plus 4x times, sorry, 2x minus 3. And this is then just going to be this times this times this, like before, this times this, and this times this. 12x squared times 2x is 24x cubed. 12x squared times minus 3 is minus 36x squared. 4x times 2x is plus 8x squared, and this times this is minus 12x. Collect the like terms, and we get 24x cubed. Minus 36 plus 8 is minus 28, and then we're just left with minus 12x, and that's it. Question 14. Number of goals that Henri's team scored one summer in each water polo match. Find the interquartile range of the number of goals. Okay, so we need to find the quartiles, guys. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. There's 11 numbers, so the median, which is the middle number, will be the sixth number. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. This is the sixth. This is the median, because we have 5 to the left and we have 5 to the right. So this is the median. And then the upper quartile will be the middle of these 5 numbers, which is this one. So that's Q3, and the lower quartile will be the middle of these ones, which is Q1. So the interquartile range, the IQR for short, is 16 minus 9, which is 7. So this is 7. Okay. Question 15. Here we have, right, well, we have all this. And we need to calculate the size of OPQ. OPQ. So this is the angle we are trying to find here. Let's call it X. We're trying to find this angle. Okay. Right, this is a bit tricky, guys. We need to think of our different theorems, and I'm just going to start putting in numbers, right? So this is 238, which means this angle here, this angle equals 122. This has to be 122 because this has to equal 360. Now he says give a reason for each stage of your working, guys. So you have to write this is 122 because angles at a point add up to 360. Then this guy is half of this, so it's actually 61 degrees. Why? Because angles at the circumference are half angles at the center. That is a rule. That is a circle theorem. Okay, next bit of information I have is this 60. Okay, so this is a tangent, this is 60. Now there's something called the alternate segment theorem. Now the alternate segment theorem means that if I draw a line here, like this, then this angle here, let me use a different color. This angle here has to equal 60. This angle is, this full angle here is 60. Okay, let me just do that out here, guys. This is 60 degrees because this is the same as this. This is alternate segment theorem. Now, I'm thinking, guys, I actually am not going to need that angle there, but it doesn't matter. So if this is 1, 2, 2, these two lines are equal because they're both radius, they're both radii, which means this angle and this angle have to be the same. So I'm going to get another color. This angle and this angle are equal because this is an isosceles triangle and they all add up to 122, so they must equal, let me actually do this one, 360 minus 122. Well, it's actually this, isn't it? Oh, sorry, it's 180. What am I doing? 180 minus 122 gives me 58, and then 58 divided by 2 is 29. Okay, so these angles here are 29. So this is 29, and this is 29. And now I can get x, because if this is 60 and this is 29, what's left to get to x? Well, x has to equal 31. Okay, which is correct. Now guys, this question says give a reason for each stage of your working. I'm not going to write it just to save time, but if you don't write it, you won't get the marks. It's 4 marks. You might get 2 marks if you did this. Even if you got the right answer, you would not get this. You have to say what you're doing. So you have to say this angle QPR is equal to 60 because of the alternate segment theorem. This angle equals 29, or this angle equals 122 because of angles at a point. This angle equals 29 because it's an isosceles triangle and angles add up to 180. And then finally, x equals 31 because 60 minus 29 equals 31. Okay, that's question 15. Question 16, use algebra to show this. Okay, so guys, you have to do it, well, you have to show it. So how do we do it? Well, we say we let x equal 0.2813113 dot dot dot. Then I go 10x equals multiply by 10. So I get 2.813113 dot dot dot. Now my goal is to get the decimals the same. So I'm going to multiply by 10 again. And I get 28.131313 dot dot dot. Still not the same. We'll keep going. 1000x is equal to 281.31313 dot dot dot. Still not the same because this is 1313 and this is 3131. So I have to go again. So it's 10,000x equals 2813.1313 dot dot dot. Okay, now this guy and this guy have the same decimal points. So what I do is I say 1000x, 10,000x, 10,000x minus 100x, I'm going to do this one minus this one, is 10,000 minus 100 is 9,900. Use your calculator, guys, if you need to. And then 2813.1313 dot 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 minus this one, 28.1313 dot 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 equals, well, I need my calculator for this, but the decimal places are going to disappear, which is the whole point of this. So I need to do 2813 minus 28. So I'm ignoring the decimals because obviously they're gonna cancel when you subtract them. So this is 2785. So this is 2785. Okay, this is a long one of these, right? So that means that 9,900x equals 2785, and then x is 2785 divided by 9,900. Now you can probably guess what's going to happen here. I can divide both sides by, I actually think it's going to be 5. If I divide them both by 5, I will get this, but let's just check. 2785 divided by 9,900, and I get, yeah, that's exactly it. So 557 over 1980. You could, guys, you'll get full marks for that, but if you want to show that what you've done is divide by 5, you can literally just go divide by 5, divide by 5. Okay, that's question 16. Question 17. Using algebra again, prove that any given 3 consecutive even numbers, the difference between the square of the largest number and the square of the smallest number is always 8 times the middle number, right? That's obviously tricky, guys. So firstly, an even number, let 2n plus 2 and 2n plus 4 be consecutive, 3 consecutive even numbers. Okay, why did I choose these numbers? Well, I multiply by 2 because that makes it even. And then I have to add on 2 and 4 because if I add on 1, it'll make it odd. If I add on 3, it'll make it odd. So I have to add on an even number. So I add on the next, to get to the next even number, I add 2, and to get to the third even number, I add on 4. Okay, so if that makes sense, let's continue. It wants the difference between the square of the largest number and the square of the smallest number. The square of the largest number is 2n plus 4 squared. This is equal to 2n plus 4 times 2n plus 4, which is 2n times 2n, 4n squared, plus 8n plus 8n plus 16, which is 4n squared plus 16n plus 16. Okay, that's the square of the largest one. The square of the smallest one, which is 2n squared, well, that's just equal to 4n squared. Now he's saying the difference between the largest and the smallest number. So the difference between the largest number and the smallest number, that is are the squares of them. That's my 2n plus 4 squared minus my 2n squared equals this 4n squared plus 16n plus 16 minus this. That is because this 2n plus 4 squared is this, we just got it, and this is this. We just got it. And the difference is the minus this. Okay. Then, nicely, the 4 n's cancel. This minus this disappears, and we're left with 16n plus 16. We need to show that it's 8 times the middle number. Well, look, if I factorize out 8, take out 8, I get 8 into 16 goes twice, and an n, and 8 into 16 goes twice. 2n plus 2, that is the same as this. 2n plus 2, 2n plus 2. The middle number. It's 8 times the middle number. So I can say which is 8 times the middle number. Obviously you don't need the colors. 8 times the middle number. So you've shown what was asked to be shown. Okay, that's question 17. Question 18. Okay, we have a table, histogram, with information about distance traveled in order to get to work by each person in a large store. Okay, so the distance, if you're between 0 and 10, let's have a look at this histogram. If you're between 0 and 10, you take 40. 30 and 60, you take 30. So remember, guys, the area is the frequency. That's the key to these questions. So the frequency, which is 40, is the area. So this entire area here has to equal 40. This area equals 40. Area is 40. Now I haven't even read the question, but I know I'm going to use this, because if this area is 40, the base is 10, which means this height has to be 4, because it's 10 times 4 gives me my area of 40, which actually means this is 1, this is 2. I need to move this away, guys. That's the area, obviously, for the blue area. This is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So these boxes are in ones in the on the y-axis. In the x-axis, obviously, it's different. Each little box is 1. And then you'll see the same here. 10 times, well, this is 10. Sorry, the 30 to 60 is 30. Okay, we'll need to fill that in. So anyway, I haven't even looked at the question, but that is what I have so far. The question says, using the information in the table and in the histogram, complete the table. Okay, so now I know that's 40. I just need to get the areas of the bars. So this area is going to be 5 times 7, which is 35. This guy is 5 times, okay, be careful here, it's 7 point, these are going up in 0.2, so 7.2468. So it's 5 times 7.8. Let's use the calculator. 5 times 7.8, which is 39. This is 39. And then here, this is 10, so 10 times 5.6, 10 times 5.6 is 56, like this. Now, if you want to show what I did here, guys, you don't have to, but this is 5 times 7, this is 5 times 7.8, and this is 10 times 5.6. I'm getting the area. Okay. Then it says complete the histogram, right? So the histogram, the only bar that hasn't been drawn is this one, from 30 to 60. But it tells me from 30 to 60, it's 30. So the area of this bar should be 30. So 30 times what equals 30? Well, it's obviously going to be 30 times 1 equals 30. So this is 30 times 1. So this has to be 1, like so. So this is the completed histogram, and you can just shade it in like that. Okay, and then there's one more question. It says, one of the people working in the store is chosen at random. Work out an estimate for the probability that the distance traveled by this person in order to get to work was greater than 25. Right, greater than 25. I had a feeling he was going to do this, right? Greater than 25 would be, so there's 25. And greater than 25 would be this area plus this area. So that's how many people. So how many people here? Well, this is going to be the pink area, guys, is 5 times 5.6. Let me write that down here. 5 times 5.6. That is the pink area. 5 times 5.6 is 28. And we know that this area is 30 because it's this. So it's 28 plus 30. So the probability, or 28 plus 30, is 58. So it's 58 people. So the probability work out an estimate for the probability that the distance traveled was greater than 25. Yeah, probability greater than 25 equals 58, because there's 58 people who took more than 25, over the total. And the total is, well, I need to just add up these together. So it's, well, again, let's be safe. 40 plus 35 plus 39 plus 56 plus 30 is 200, right? So it's exactly 200 people. 58 out of 200, and because it's probability, I don't need to simplify it, so let's just leave it like that. 58 out of 200. Okay, question 19. Venn diagram. All right, be careful, guys. It says these represent the numbers of elements, or the number of elements. So that means, and I always find these questions confusing, that means there are 12 elements in here. There are 5 elements, not that 12 is an element. So, okay, that's what that means. Find the number of elements in A union B, right? A union B, if you shade it in, is everything in there together with everything in there, and both. It's all of that. That's what A union B is. So I add all these up. 12 plus 10 is 22, 28, 33, 36, 45. So it's 45. Well, that's it, 45. Then not in A and not in B, right? So it has to be not in A, and it also has to be not in B. Well, there's only 2 numbers that are not in A and not in B, and it's this 4 and this 8. So it's both of them, so it's 12. There are 12 people that are not in A and not in B. Okay, finally, this one looks tricky. The number of elements that are in A intersection B union C. So A intersection B union C. So everything that's A intersection B, let's just shade that in right now. This is A intersection B, and it's the union together with C. So it's also anything that's in C. So all of this. So we're just going to add up these numbers, which are 11, 21, 24, 28. So this has to be 28. Okay, question 20. Okay, this is one of these upper and lower bounds questions. It says calculate the upper bound for the value of p. Okay, so guys, if you've seen me do these before, you may be familiar with the way I do it. I say we want p to be big. To get p big, we want t to be big, because that's the first term of the numerator. But we then want w to be small, because I'm taking away w. So if you want to make p big, you want to take away a small number. And also, if you want to make p big, you want to divide by a small number. So that's the first step. P is big, so t is big, w is small, and y is small. And then you go and essentially do this for all of them. So this, I'm going to save myself some time, guys, and copy and paste here, and I'll do it again. Okay, so this is for, let's do t. This is t, this is w, this is y. For t, 9.7, 1 decimal place, so the next one is 9.8 and the next one is 9.6. W, 1 decimal place, 5.9, the next one is 6.0, and the next one down is 5.8. Y, 3 to 1 significant figure, so the next one up is 4 and the next one down is 5. Right, we want the upper bound for t. Upper bound is halfway between these two, it's 9.75. We want the lower bound for w. The lower bound for w is halfway between these two, so 5.85. And we want the lower bound for y halfway between, sorry guys, I've just done something really silly here. That should be 2. The lower bound for this guy is 2.5. 2.5. Therefore, p equals the big T, 9.75, minus the small w, 5.85, and then divide by the small y, which is 2.5. Put all this into your calculator and we get 9.75 minus 5.85 divided by 2.5, and it's 39 over 25, or 1.56. So this is equal to 1.56. Okay. Question 21. We have x equals this, y equals this. Find an expression for x in terms of a. Give your expression as a single fraction in its simplest form. Right, this, guys, this is not easy, right? So we want an expression for x in terms of a. So x is this, but we know that y is this. So instead of y, I'm going to sub in that. So instead of this y, I'm going to put 5 over 5a minus 2. So it's 5, x is 5, over 9 times 5 over 5a minus 2 plus 5. Okay. Now, over the side, guys, because this is going to get complicated, I'm going to do this 9 over, I'm going to do this plus 5. So 9 times 5 is 45. So it's 45 over 5a minus 2 plus 5. Now to do this, let me do it like this, plus 5. to do this, I want a common denominator. And my common denominator is going to be 5a minus 2. So 45 is still 45. And this I have to multiply by 5a minus 2, which is plus 5 times 5a minus 2. Okay, simplify this. It becomes 45 plus 25a minus 10 over 5a minus 2, or 35 plus 25a over 5a minus 2. Okay, so this is the simplified version of this denominator. Now I did warn you this was hard, guys. So it's 5 over. So this denominator line is bigger than this one. That's very important. So it's this divided by this. 35 plus 25a, smaller division sign, 5a minus 2. Okay, now you can think of this as 5 over 1 divided by this. So you're dividing fractions. So if I'm dividing fractions, remember how to divide fractions, you actually multiply. So think of 5 as 5 over 1. To divide by a fraction, you flip it upside down and multiply. So it's 5 times 5a minus 2 over 35 plus 25a, like that. Okay, nearly done. We then divide above and below by 5. So I'm going to divide by 5. Divide the top by 5, gets rid of this. So it's 5a minus 2. And then I divide the bottom by 5, which gives me 7, because 35 divided by 5 is 7, and 5a, because 25a divided by 5 is 5a. So that is, yeah, that's it, guys. That's how you do it. There's a number of different ways to do it, obviously, but when I see something like this, my first thought is to simplify. When you have a fraction in a fraction, the first thing to do is deal with the kind of inside fraction first, and then do this. Okay, that's question 21. 22. So we have a triangular prism, horizontal base. It gives us all this. These are all equal to 12. AB is 10. BE is 15. Calculate the size of the angle A between AD and the base. So AD. Oh, right. That is tricky, guys. So we want the angle between ABEF. So the angle between AD there and the base. Now, when you're getting an angle between a line and a plane, or a base in this case, you go down to the plane and then you go back. You have to go back to directly under the point where you came from. So it has to be there. That is the, and then this goes vertically up like that. Now I may as well draw it properly. This is vertically down to there, and then this to there. Now that is a right angle. Obviously it's in 3D, so it doesn't look like a right angle, but this is a right angle. Okay, now how do I even get this? Well, I don't think I have any of the sides, so I don't have any of these sides, and I'm trying to find this angle here. So what I can do is, I think I can get this side using Pythagoras, and I think I can get this side too using Pythagoras. So let's do the bottom one first. So imagine I have this triangle here. This blue is called, this is a blue triangle. And we'll call this length here that we're trying to find. Let's call it x. So we're trying to find x. So the blue triangle will have, this is 10. Oh no, sorry, it's not 10. Let me explain. Okay, so this is that blue shaded triangle. This is x. X is the hypotenuse. This length here at the bottom is 5 because it is exactly half this way. This is halfway between these two, which is halfway the same as this. So that has to be half of 10, which is 5. And this length is 15. So I can get x using Pythagoras. X squared is 15 squared plus 5 squared. X squared is, I think that's 225 plus 25, which is 250. Let me just make sure about that. 15 squared plus 5 squared is 250, and then I want the square root of that. Oops, square root of 250 is 5 root 10. I can actually leave it like that, guys. X is the square root of 250. So let's leave it like that for now. So now I have this x. Now I'm going to get this this length, sorry, this this length here. So let's consider this triangle. Let's call it this an orange triangle here. So I'll draw it over here. Okay, so I should have maybe said that's A, that's B, and this point, let's just call it M for now, for the middle point. So that's M. Okay, this triangle, this is D, this is M, and this is E. It looks the same, it's the same direction, so that's kind of helpful. So that's that. I know, again, this length here is 5, because again it's half of 10, and I know this length is 12. So to find this length, let's call it y. Again, I can use Pythagoras' theorem. So y squared plus 5 squared equals 12 squared. Y squared equals 12 squared minus 5 squared. And then y is equal to, let's just do that, guys. 12 squared minus 5 squared is 119. I'm going to leave it as root, so y is the square root of 119. Okay, but this is good, because now I have on my pink triangle, which is a right angle triangle, guys. Remember, in 3D, that's a right angle there. This, and this is the angle I want. And we have A, D, M. I now have my x, which is this bottom one. So this is x, root 250. This is y, root 119. And our angle, let's call it theta. Angle theta. So to get theta, I just do SOHCAHTOA. So I can say tan theta equals root 119 over root 250. Theta is the inverse tan of that. Now, I do hope I'm right. Inverse tan of root 119. You could have written these as decimals, guys. That's absolutely fine. Just don't round too much. But I prefer to just leave it like that. Close brackets. And we get 34.6028, which is right. So 34.6, I think he says one decimal place. 3 significant figures, 34.6. Okay, question 23. Okay, the sum of the first n terms, capital N terms, is 292. The second term is this, the fifth term is this. Find the value of n. Okay, so the sum of n terms, the sum is in the formula booklet, guys. It's n over 2, capital N over 2 now in this case, 2a plus capital N minus 1d. That's the formula in the formula sheet. Now, so that's this, and it says this equals 292, and we need to find n. The problem with this though is I don't know a and I don't know d. However, they give us two more bits of information here, which will allow us to find a and to find d. So the nth term u of n is equal to, and this formula is not in the formula booklet, a plus n minus 1 d. So that means the second term, u2, is equal to a plus 2 minus 1 d, which is just d. And that makes sense, because if you want to get to the second term, you just add the difference to the first term. u5 is then a plus 5 minus 1, which is 4d. That also makes sense, because to get to the fifth term, you're going to have to add 4 d's. So we have this, but he tells us the second term is 8.5, and he tells us the fifth term is 13. So now I can just solve these simultaneously. I could actually subtract them. So let's do that. I'm going to subtract these. A minus a is 0, that disappears. D minus 4d is minus 3d, and this minus this is minus 4.5, which means d is minus 4.5 divided by minus 3, which is 1.5. You can use your calculator. If d is 1.5, then a plus 1.5 has to equal 8.5, and a is equal to 7, this minus this. So now I have a and I have d. So now it's, well, not easy, but I can sub these in here. So into S of n, I can say n over 2 brackets 2a, which is 2 times 7, plus n minus 1 times d, which is 1.5, close brackets, equals 292. Okay, now I need to work all this out. So I'm actually going to multiply across by 2 first, guys. N times. So 2 times 292 is 584. I think that's correct. 584. Then that's this 2. I've multiplied by that 2. So I'm left with n times 14 plus 1.5 times n is 1.5 times n minus 1.5 equals this. Okay, now I'm going to have a quadratic here, guys. So n times 14 minus 1.5 is 12.5. And this 12.5, sorry, keep the bracket open, plus 1.5n equals 584. Multiply out 12.5n plus 1.5n squared equals 584. Okay, I don't love decimals here, guys, so I'm going to multiply everything by 2. That gives me 25n, this times 2, plus 3n squared, this times 2, equals this times 2, which is 1168. Use your calculator. Now I need to solve this. I'm trying to find n. Okay, so I'm going to do 3n squared plus 25n minus 1168 equals 0. So this is obviously a horrible quadratic to solve, but guys, we can use our quadratic formula. Or if you are able to use your calculator and work backwards, you can factorize it if it does factorize. So here we have a polynomial equation. 2, this is 3, this is 25, and this is minus 1168. So the answer is 16 or 73/3. Now we know it's the nth term, so my answer is going to be 16. But you can't write, but I will actually put in 16 here. But guys, you have to, and if you look at the mark scheme, it actually says working required. So you have to show some working. So you could either try to get the factors, and the way you do that, the way you get the factors is you say, okay, x equals 16, or x equals minus 73/3, or x equals minus 73/3, which means you kind of work backwards here. X minus 16 equals 0. 3x equals minus 73, or 3x plus 73 equals 0. So these are the factors. X minus 16 times 3x plus 73 equals 0. So that's fine. And then you have to say, and sorry guys, it's n. I should have said n. Let me change all these. It is n, and capital N. So we know n has to be positive. So that's n, 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 n. N is positive because it's the nth term. We can't have the negative 73/3 term. It's the 16th term. So n equals 16. So either, if you can figure out, guys, how to go backwards here, because factorizing this, I mean, that's ridiculous. You can't be expected to factorize this without a calculator. But if you can do that, fine. Otherwise, just use the quadratic formula, and you'll get the same answer. Okay, that's question 23. 24. Functions. We've f and g, and we need to find f of g of 2. This is a nice question, guys. First, you get g of 2, which we get by subbing 2 into g. So it's 7 times 2 minus 6. 14 minus 6 is 8. And then we get f of 8. F of 8 is 5 times 8 squared minus 10 times 8 plus 7. I think this requires a calculator. 5 times 8 squared minus 80, 8 times 10 plus 7 is 247. So this is 247. Okay, this one is hard, guys. It says express the inverse function in the form f minus 1 of x. Okay, so f of x, or I'm going to say let y equal 5x squared minus 10x plus 7. Y equals. Now I'm going to complete the square. Now, guys, I'm going to use my I've got a special way of completing the square, because this is quite a tricky one, using the calculator. If you go to, again, equation, polynomial 2 degree 2, put in our quadratic, which is 5x squared minus 10 and plus 7. Now it gives us x1 and x2, don't worry about it, ignore it, but the minimum is 1, 2. So the minimum is when x is 1 and y is 2. So the minimum, I'm just going to write here, is 1, 2. If you want to write min here. So here, the completed square, guys, is 5, stays out here, open bracket, x minus 1, it's always minus this, squared, and then plus 2. That's it. That is the same as this. And if you multiply this out, you'll see why it's the case. You're going to get 5x squared minus 10x plus 5 plus 2 gives you the plus 7. So this is this. So y is equal to this. Then to get the inverse, we swap x and y. So x is equal to 5 times y minus 1 squared plus 2. And now we essentially make y the subject. So I'm going to subtract 2, although I'll put this over here. 5 times y minus 1 squared equals x minus 2. So I subtracted 2 and swapped them. Hope that's okay. Divide by 5. Y minus 1 squared equals x minus 2 over 5. Y minus 1 is the square root of x minus 2 over 5. And y is then the square root of x minus 2 over 5 plus 1, like that. And that's the inverse function. And then we can write it like this. You can write it as 1 plus this if you prefer. 1 plus the square root of x minus 2 over 5. Okay, now I'll just add, guys, because this could be plus or minus. But because x has to be bigger than 1 for this, for the function f, then y has to be bigger than 1 for the inverse function. So if this is plus or minus, like this, but the inverse function must be 1. So I better write that. Y equals 1 plus the square root of x minus 2 over 5 as y is greater or equal to 1. Okay, that is because, guys, the domain of the function, which is this guy, is the same as the range of the inverse function, which is this guy, greater or equal to 1. Okay, question 25. These are obviously getting difficult, right? So we have two circles, like so. One of the circles has center. Okay, that's drawn 50 degrees. Fine. Calculate this area of this region to 3 significant figures. And this question is 2 pages and 6 marks. No doubt it is long and not easy. So how are we going to do it? So I've seen these types of questions before, guys. If you haven't, it's not easy to see what I'm about to do here, but I have seen it, which is why I know what to do, basically. You split this up into 2, and then what you happen to get is a segment here, which goes with this circle, and a segment here, which goes with this circle, and we're going to add them together. Now, how do you get the area of a segment? Well, to get the area of a segment, don't know what's going on with that. To get the area of the segment, we get the area of the sector, and we subtract the area of the triangle. So we're going to get the area. Let's look at the big one first. If I get this, the area of this sector, the full thing here, and I subtract this triangle there, I subtract this triangle, I'll get the blue sector. So the area of a segment is sector minus triangle. So I'm going to show you how to do it. We'll do the blue one first, and then I'll show you the problem we're going to run into for this one, because I don't actually have this angle. Well, actually, let's get this angle first. I don't have this angle. Right, this is actually a really hard question, guys. So I don't have this angle. Let's call it theta. So we need to find it. To find it, I would like to use, I can't, it's not related, there's no circle theorem here that's related to this 50 degrees. I have to use this triangle here, and I'm just going to, well, I'm going to use the cosine rule, but I don't have this side here, but I can get it using this triangle here. So I'm going to get this side using the cosine rule of this triangle, and then I'll get the angle using this triangle. Okay, so let's call this thing x. That length there is x. So x squared is equal to cosine rule 5 squared plus 5 squared minus 2 times 5 times 5 times cos 50. Okay, x is then equal to the square root of that. Let us get the square root of that. Menu 1. So I'm going to get the square root of 5 squared, 25, plus 5 squared, 25, minus 2 times 5, which is 50, and cos 50 gives me this. So x is 4.226. 4.226. That is this length here. Now to get the, guys, I'm just going to check what they give you in the formula sheet because I've forgotten. In the formula sheet, okay, they give you the cosine rule, but they don't give you the cosine rule rearranged. So just be careful. To get the angle for the cosine rule, or the angle using the cosine rule, let's go back here. I need to, so note I have this side x, guys, is 4.226, but to get the angle, I need to use, if the cosine rule is a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2 times b times c times cos a, the formula rearranged to get the angle is cos a equals b squared plus c squared minus a squared over 2bc. So either figure out how to rearrange this into this, or just learn off that. But that means cos a is equal to b squared plus c squared minus a squared. That's my 4 squared plus 4 squared minus a squared, which is this guy, 4.226 squared, all over 2 times 4 times 4. So a, which is theta in this case, theta is equal to inverse cos, so that's shift cos, inverse cos of all of this. 4 squared is 16, 4 squared is 16, 4.226 squared, 4.226 squared over 2 times 4 times 4, which is 32. Okay, now close the bracket. This gives me, oh, whoops, I need to go back. Oh, he's just deleted it. Right, let's try that again. Inverse cos of 16 plus 16 minus 4.226 squared over 32. Close the bracket. Okay, that's better. So this angle here is 63.77. 63.77. Okay, all that work just to get this angle. Now I'm going to get the area of these segments. So let me just write down what I said there, guys. Area of segment equals area of sector minus area of triangle. Okay, let's do the blue one first. The blue segment. area is equal to area of the sector. The area of the sector is pi r squared, pi times 5 squared, pi r squared times angle over 360. That's the area of the sector. And now we need to minus area of the triangle. Area of triangle is a half. The area of the triangle is a half AB sine C, or 5 squared sine 50 degrees. So this is equal to, and I'll just write it over here. This is equal to pi, or pi times 5 squared, which is 25, times 50 over 360 minus a half, 0.5, times 25 for 5 squared times sine 50, sine 50, close brackets, 1.3328, 1.3328. Small number, but it kind of makes sense, guys, because it's a small circle. So the blue segment is this. The orange segment, orange, let me just go to here, orange segment. Same kind of thing, but we're using 4 and theta, which is 63. So area is pi times 4 squared plus 63.77 over 360. Sorry, times. Let me remove that. Pi times 4 squared times this minus a half times 4 squared times sine 63.77. And this equals, yes guys, I know this is very hard. So we have pi times 16 for 4 squared times 63.77 over 360 minus a half, 0.5, times 16 for 4 squared times sine of 63.77, 1.7278, 1.7278. So that is the orange segment. This is the blue segment. So the total area equals 1.7278 plus 1.3328. Hopefully this is correct. 1.7278 plus 1.3328. This, which is 3.06 to 3 significant figures. Yes, it is correct. 3.06. Okay, all that space. 3.06. Okay, last question, I believe, and it's a vectors. When the last question is vectors, you know it's going to be challenging. So we have this given, they are a trapezium intersected P. Find and simplify an expression in terms of A and B for OP. So we're trying to find OP. This. Okay. Now, if you've seen me do these types of questions before, guys, you will see how I do it. I get from O to P in 2 different ways. Okay. Now the first way is I'm going to go a fraction of OC, so some fraction of OC, and the second way I'm going to do it is I'm going to go O to A and then some fraction of AB. Okay, so firstly let's get AC. So again guys, I'm going to write up here, but obviously you write down there. So firstly, AC is 2A plus 3B. And AB is minus 2a plus 5b. Minus 2a plus 5b, because I'm going against the arrow this way with the arrow this way. So minus 2a plus 5b. So OP is going to be is some fraction of, sorry guys, I meant to say this should have been OC, sorry. This is OC. Okay, 2a plus 3b, that's fine. OP is some fraction of OC. Let's call it T. It's T times OC. T times 2a plus 3b. Why T? Well, I could choose any letter I want, except A and B. Often we use T and lambda. But it's just to signify that it's some fraction of OC. Now, it's not, OP is not equal to T, but it's the fraction of the whole thing. So OP is T times this, which is the same as 2TA plus 3TB. Okay, that's OP. But I'm going to get OP in another way now as well. I'm going to say OP is equal to OA, which is 2a, so I'm going to go up here, plus some fraction of AB. So let's call this fraction, the fraction of AB, I'm going to call lambda. So it's 2a to get to here, plus lambda, some fraction of AB. And we know AB is minus 2a plus 5b. So this equals 2a minus 2 lambda a plus 5 lambda b. And just get my a's together here, guys. This is 2 minus 2 lambda a, if I take out the a, plus 5 lambda b. Okay, now I do this strange thing where I say, well, this is OP and this is OP, which means the A component, because A is a vector, right? So the A component of OP here has to equal the A component of OP there. And the B component of OP here has to equal the B component of OP there. Hence, I can say that 2t has to equal 2 minus 2 lambda. The yellow equals the yellow. And 3t has to equal 5 lambda. Now, I have two equations with two unknowns. I can solve these and find myself a lambda. I find myself t and lambda. So how do I solve this? Numerous ways to do it. Let's solve it by elimination. I will multiply. Okay, so this top equation, let me just move down here. The top equation I'm going to write as 2t plus 2 lambda equals 2. And this one I'm going to write as 5 lambda minus, sorry, hang on, I'm going to write it as 3t minus 5 lambda equals 0. So this is a simultaneous equation that you may be familiar with from, well, it's the normal looking simultaneous equation. So if I multiply the top one by 3, this is, I'm going to just right here at the side, multiply this by 3 and multiply this by 2. That will give me equal t's, which I can then eliminate. So this becomes 6t plus 6 lambda equals 6. Or actually, guys, now that I see it, I could have, well, let me just continue this way, but I could have divided everything by 2 here, and that would have helped me, but it doesn't matter. So this, and then the bottom one by 2, gives me 6t minus 10 lambda equals still 0. Now I can subtract this. So these are gone. 6 lambda plus this, because I'm subtracting a negative, this gives me 16 lambda equals 6. So lambda is 6 over 16, or divide by 2, 3 over 8. So lambda is 3 over 8, which means t, 3t equals 5 lambda, but lambda is 3 over 8, so 3t equals 5 times 3 over 8. Divide both sides by 3, t equals 5 over 8. Okay, now I know I'll use this OP, guys, because it's easier. 2ta plus 3tb. So OP equals 3ta plus 3ta, sorry, 2ta plus 3tb. 2ta plus 3tb. 2ta plus 3tb. And now I can just sub in my t. So it's 2 times 5 over 8a plus 3 times 5 over 8b, which gives me 5 over 4a. You can use your calculator if you want, guys, to simplify that. Although, if you're able to do this question, I'm sure you're okay with these kind of fractions. And then 15 over 8b, which is correct. So guys, I've said before, I find these types of vector questions are extremely difficult. But having said that, the first time I saw it, I was like, this is one of the hardest questions I've ever seen. But because they're all quite similar, now I'm starting to see the pattern, and maybe you can too. Okay, that's it, guys. That is the last question. Obviously write your answer there, but here it is, and that's the paper done. So I'll see you for paper 2 next time.